Good evening, and welcome back to this week's C.H.A.M.P Veteran Community and Chat. I'm Kayla Alex, and I'm here with my handsome co-host,
Sam Alex.
And we are so happy to have you all join us today. We have a beautiful guest today, and you will just be in awe of her story and all that she does for our veteran community. And so we're going to introduce her a little later on in this segment, but we want to talk about and highlight some of the things that are coming up. But before we do that, we want to check the pulse of our family and friends who are listening today. I hope you all are having an amazing week and a great day. How are you doing, Sam?
I'm doing wonderful, thank you. How are you today, Kayla?
I'm good. This week, this year has flown by. I swear, August only was here for a second.
It was. It went by very quickly.
Yeah, so I hope you all have some amazing plans coming up for Labor Day weekend, this 3-day weekend for many of you. Some of you may make it 4-day weekend, but there's a lot of activities going on around Houston, and I hope that you all get involved and get plugged in and have some good, safe, and some relaxing time with your friends and family. So what's going on, Sam, in the news of our veteran community?
Yes, just to catch us up on the last week, shout out to Pastor Tiffany. Phenomenal lady that just does great work. Her, along with all the other pastors on the roster, Pastor Rick, and others that just make St. John's an amazing experience. Pastor Brooks, Pastor Everett, who we had on the show, and all the other pastors, as well as the employees, the volunteers, and members of St. John's and the Bread of Life. This phenomenal. And also we can't forget Amanda Sapp.
Yes, thank you, Amanda. She does a lot of work. She does great work around the city for the amazing 102.5 FM, hosted by the Bread of Life. And we definitely cannot forget about our crew.
Yes, we have the two amazing producers, and we appreciate their feedback. You know, we've been here a few months now, but we wouldn't be where we are today as far as just the confidence and feedback and encouragement. They meet us with a smile every week. They pray for us, I know, because I feel it. Mm-hmm. Who are our amazing producers, Kayla?
Reggie and Jamison.
Yes, two amazing producers. So we're grateful for them.
Yes.
And all that they do for us. So, yes. You know, we also have the 9/11 Day of Remembrance coming up at the Houston City Hall. That's on the day of September 11th, correct?
Right, and that is on a Wednesday. It is at City Hall at 11:30 a.m. So come out, show your love and support to our 9/11 veterans, and to just show how much we appreciate each and every one of them. So it's at 11:30 a.m. September 11th at City Hall.
All right. Also, you had an upcoming federal and Pentagon job fair, correct?
Yes. So let me update everyone on the upcoming job fair. Well, it is scheduled for September 6th and 7th, and that is a Friday and Saturday, from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. It is hosted by the Army, and you don't necessarily have to be in the military or a veteran. They have civilian jobs as well. Mm-hmm. So the Army is hosting a job fair. You don't want to miss it. You can register at https //apply.army.mil, and what we'll do is we'll have the link in our description after the show, and you can just kind of go on YouTube and on the app and apply and register for the job fair. You don't want to miss out. These are some really good, essential and critical careers and jobs. So if you're in between careers, or if you're just getting out of college, or if you have a high school student who is in the 11th or 12th grade and they're looking to begin their careers right out of high school, have them go out. Have them register for the job fair. Make sure that they have their resumes. You all have your resumes available and ready. They'll be interviewing on the spot. And if you need a security clearance, I heard that they will be doing that as well on the spot. So September 6th and 7th, mark it on your calendars. Also, on September 7th, here at St. John's at 2019 Crawford Street, we will be celebrating Grandparents' Day and Grandparents' Weekend. There will be some free giveaways, snacks and refreshments, health care information and resources, and a visit from Dr. Health E. Hound, Health E. Hound, and more. So come on out. You don't want to miss it. It would be fun. It would be a way for grandparents and grandchildren to connect alike. Sam, what else do you have?
Yes. CA is meeting tonight here at the campus of St. John's. So if you're on your way, come on and get a meeting in. They start at 6:30 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. and it's facilitated by Mr. Rodney Owens of Pathway to Serenity. So come on down for CA meetings. Also, Path to Freedom, they meet on Thursdays from 5:30 p. to 6:30 p. here at St. John's downtown. Army veteran Danny Sneed and Mrs. Shea are the facilitators. Path to Freedom prevents recidivism for men and women that are recently or have been released from prison. So it's a powerful, proactive program. So come on down.
Also, on that note, our special guest has some updates for those who are incarcerated or coming out regarding your benefits. So please stay tuned. If you have been in prison or you're just getting out and you want to learn more about how to get your benefits and how that works out, our special guest will be able to update you on that information as well.
So continue to listen in. Also, for the family members of incarcerated veterans, listen in. Great information will be shared.
Yes.
Men, join us. Men and male veterans, join us on Saturday, September 6th here at St. John's downtown. We have a monthly breakfast and fellowship here on campus.
That's the 7th.
I'm sorry, thank you. September the 7th, Saturday, September the 7th. Thank you, KK. So come on down. We start at 8 a.m. and it's tremendous breakfast. There's no cost, great fellowship. And so men, veterans, men in the community, come and get plugged in. We need support in this thing called life. So, yes. So that's all I have.
Well, it's a lot going on the 7th here at 2019 Crawford, St. John's Church. We got the men's breakfast and fellowship. We got Celebrate Grandparents Day and Weekend.
And there's one more. Did you know you had something on a tremendous veteran?
Yes, I can't leave that out.
Right.
So on today, we would like to pay tribute to an Iraqi veteran, and we want to congratulate Danielle Green, former Notre Dame women's basketball player, Iraq War veteran, and Purple Heart recipient, for winning the Pat Tillman Award for service at the ESPY Awards. Green currently works as a counselor for veterans in South Bend. So we want to highlight all of our veterans. They're doing great work. Each show we find a veteran that's doing amazing things and have done, or even the veterans whose shoulders we're standing on. You know, we want to highlight and just pay tribute to them. And before we go on break, Sam, would you like to introduce our beautiful guest.
Yes, before we go on break, real quick, you definitely have to stay with us and come back after break because Luz Cervantes she is phenomenal. I've known her for years.
Yes.
And her smile lights up a room.
Yes.
And she's so giving, so inspirational. And I know her from her earlier work around the VA, just high energy, encouraging. I think she had a vision to start a newspaper back at that time. But it was just the beginning of even greater work that she is now doing. So stay with us.
Yes, she's been doing the work for 25 years, so you don't want to miss it.
So stay tuned to Amazing 102.5, powered by the Bread of Life.
Yes. And welcome back to C.H.A.M.P Veteran and Community Chat. I'm Kayla Alex with my handsome co-host,
Sam Alex.
And our beautiful guest, Luz Cervantes.
Hello.
And I just want to say, Sam and I, we are so grateful for our listeners.
Yes.
Thank you for tuning in. We appreciate each and every one of you, our listeners. We have listeners from Thailand.
Yes, we do.
Listeners from Turkey. So I wonder what country we'll have listening to us this week. I don't know.
You never know. With bringing amazing guests like Luz on.
Yes.
It could go.
Yes.
Could go. She served in the Navy, so
Of
Navy's
course.
all over the world. Navy veterans all over the world.
We have expats all over the world, and so many, and they're growing. The expat community is growing in South Asia, in Europe, and Mexico, and so they're still plugged in here in the States, on the state side, because they have family and, of course, their retirement, but they are all over the world, and so the information that our guests share, they benefit from that information as well. So, so Luz, tell us about why you joined the Navy and what your career was in the Navy.
Like most people, most young people who join the service, we're just looking for an opportunity. We come from maybe a poor background and not much family support, and we're just looking for college money. That's really what it boiled down to. And I had no idea that it was going to be a decision that changed the rest of the course of my life. It's actually the best decision I ever made. And when I actually joined without my mom's permission. People usually say, I was going to join, but my mom didn't let me. Well, my mom didn't let me either, and I forged her signature. My mom didn't speak English. I was born in Mexico, so I'm not even a first-generation American. Nobody in my family had joined the service. And when she found out that I had joined, she's like, oh, my God, they're going to kill you. And to this day, she still says I was in the Army. Because to her, it's all the Army. And, I just kind of laugh at it and, take it in stride. But I served stateside, and it was just a great opportunity. After the service, I came home, and I've dedicated my life in the last 25 years to serving those who serving veterans and their families and their widows and their orphans, and helping them obtain their VA benefits that they are so rightfully entitled to.
So you're fulfilling the mission of Abraham Lincoln.
Yes, and it's before Abraham Lincoln. It's biblical. It's biblical. It's in the Bible about being able to care for the widow and the orphan. So it's not just Abe Lincoln, who is one of my favorite presidents, but it's also a teaching from God.
Amen. Amen. So in that 25 years of service, what are some of your proudest accomplishments or interactions and things like that?
Well, I tell you one. There was this one particular doctor, and he used to, for whatever reason, I just knew, and he was a contracted doctor. The VA now uses contracted examiners, and this particular doctor, no matter how decorated the veteran was, no matter when or where he served, I just knew if he went to this doctor for his VA exam, he was going to get denied. And I was able to work with the chief of staff at the VA hospital, gave him some cases to review for me, and he helped me with the opinion that this doctor was just certainly not veteran friendly.
He had a bias.
He had a bias. And thanks to that review and my insistence on it, the VA regional office here in Houston had to re-examine over 300 veterans who were denied their PTSD claims because of that particular doctor. So handling claims is not just about paper pushing. It's about really diving deep and getting to know the veteran and getting to know their story and making sure that they are properly presenting their claim, I guess you can say. You know, the VA estimates that according to the VA, 81% of claims that they receive are now receiving some level of monetary benefit. And out of the ones that are denied, only 38% have a successful appeal rate. I feel if you do things right the first time, there should be no reason for denial. So how do you do things right the first time? Well, it's about educating yourself and getting in touch with organizations and people that can guide you how to properly present your case so that you don't go down that rabbit hole of an appeal process that can be very lengthy and very tiresome.
It sounds like you're saying, I'm receiving that all VSOs are not alike.
All doctors are not alike. All
police officers, you name
exactly,
it. And
you
so
name
it's
it.
so important to get quality representation.
I think the number one quality that a service officer can have is durability, length of time. I tell you what, I served as a service officer for AMVETS, a nonprofit organization, for 16 years here at the regional office, and I don't think I felt comfortable working a claim until I was 3 years in. And I feel very bad because I feel as if maybe I've screwed somebody over in with some type of negligence, not intentional, but it just takes time and years and experience to be able to really, really know how to read VA law, how it pertains to that particular claim, and how to raise reasonable doubt. What people don't know is VA law says CFR, the Code of Federal Regulations 3.102, says the VA has to give the veteran reasonable doubt. What is reasonable doubt? Reasonable doubt is 51%. 51%. As long as we raise some type of possibility and likelihood that that condition could have been related to the service, the VA has to grant him that claim.
Awesome. Awesome. You know, going back to what you said earlier, I smiled because I was that type of person that I kind of pushed back against the status quo. And you did that to that doctor, you know, so bravo on you.
Thank
A
you.
lot of times people play it safe, and as a result, injustices continue. And so for you to put your neck on the line for that veteran, that shows courage.
Thank you.
That shows courage. And then for you to pick that one out of all of them, because you know, most people, well, you know, I won a Super Bowl, you know, which is great, but yours, your highlight was what
really
you
mean
did.
Nothing.
There you go.
Accolades don't mean anything. You
Yes.
know, we do it for the cause, not for the applause. And I tell you
Amen.
that most people don't know that I actually spent 2 to 3 years with my coworkers reaching out every Saturday to incarcerated veterans, visiting the units up in Ellis unit, the Ramsey units, and the Hightower units, because we shouldn't just serve those who are the heroes, who are the highly decorated. We should also serve just that E1, E2, just that
Joe?
guy, regular Joe, regular G.I. Joe who served their time. They served honorably. And when I would go to prison, the one rule I had was, I don't want to know why you're here. I just know that you were a veteran first, and that title means more to me than anything you've done afterwards, and that's what I'm here for.
So Luz, let me ask you this. If a veteran is serving time, because we know now we didn't know in the past that oftentimes when they are incarcerated, it's due to a service-connected issue, right? And so now they're serving their time, they're doing their part. So what happens with their benefits, and how will their family members, their children, their spouses who are on the outside, how does that impact them financially when they are serving time?
I will admit that I am biased. My favorite veteran is the Vietnam veteran. And I say that because the World War II, the greatest generation, and there'll never be a generation like them, but they came home to parades. They came home with everybody supporting the cause. The Vietnam vet came home to get spit on, to just deal with the demons, without the mental health and the opportunities given to the generation before them. So unfortunately, a lot of these Vietnam vets, got caught up in drugs that some started using during their service in Vietnam.
Right.
And they came home and they just became an incarcerated veteran, forgotten about by society. And that taught us a valuable lesson, because thanks to the Vietnam veteran who paved the way, we have so many great benefits like Veterans Court and things like that. But the Vietnam veteran is the one who really paved the way for everything that these younger generation of veterans are entitled to now.
So, Luz, before we go on break, let's go out in silence in honor of our Vietnam vets, and then we pick it up. Kayla, you'll start the segment off, so keep your thought. So in honor of our Vietnam vets, it'll take us in the break.
Welcome back to C.H.A.M.P's Veteran Community and Chat. And I am Kayla Alex with my handsome co-host.
I'm Sam Alex with my beautiful co-host.
And our beautiful guest, Luz Cervantes.
Hello.
Sam, what other questions and information you want to ask Ms. Luz?
Yes, Luz. With your vast experience, 16 years, I'm familiar with AMVETS. They're phenomenal over at the regional center. I think we're about to change names. They're about to title it after the Medal of Honor winner.
This recipient.
That's right. You
Yes.
can't win it.
Clarence Sasser. When I started working there, I worked with that man, and I tell you what, talk about humble.
Yes.
It was months before I even knew that he was a Medal of Honor recipient, because he was just down to earth and just a phenomenal guy.
I had a chance to meet him in my career. It was around 2008, and actually received his Medal of Honor coin.
Oh, wow.
Yes, he didn't tell me he was a Medal of Honor recipient.
And even after he retired, when I had the scuttlebutt, I tried to interview him, and he just wanted to stay out of the limelight.
So kind.
Yes.
There's a statue of him down in Brazoria County.
Yes, that's
at the
what I've
courthouse.
heard.
Yes, I've seen it, and just phenomenal. Rest in power, Mr. Sasser, and we salute you. And there's so much misinformation, disinformation, or unknown information about receiving or for a veteran getting service connected, how that connection, I have this situation, how do I connect it to actual service connection? Could you explain that?
That's a great question, and people don't realize that there's 5 different ways for the VA to be able to service connect a disability. Now, despite which route the veteran decides to take, the most important thing is to have a diagnosis, because VA can't pay you for something you don't have. 2, you have to have the relationship to the service. And this is a way, this is one of the 5 ways, and I'll explain each one of them very briefly. One is the one we most commonly see, which is a direct service connection. That's where the service medical records directly document that injury or illness it was incurred while the veteran was on active duty. Another way is secondary. Veterans don't realize that the VA recognizes secondary conditions. If A is a service-connected disability and it causes B, then B can be service-connected if there is a diagnosis and a link to A. The third is a presumptive. Presumptive disabilities are disabilities that were not documented while you were in service, but a law came out that will presume that if you had served under certain conditions, now it would be a service-related condition.
Agent Orange?
Agent Orange, exactly. Agent Orange, the PACT Act with OIF, OEF veterans. Those are examples of presumptive conditions. Another is aggravation. If a veteran had a disability before he entered and the service aggravated it beyond the natural progression of the disease, they can file a claim. That's the key there. As we age, things are naturally going to get worse, so a doctor has to say that the service aggravated it beyond that natural progression. And the fifth is something that we don't see commonly. I think it was more common a few years ago, but with the advances of medical technology, it's not as common now, but it's called an 1151 claim, and that's kind of like a negligence claim, different from a tort claim. If I had a Vietnam veteran in particular back in 1998, he went in for a knee replacement of his right knee, and they did the left. So the VA service connected that condition at 100% for the rest of his life.
Wow. I have a question that I get as a spouse from others, family members. So if, say, for instance, a veteran ends up with cancer, and they say, well, and this veteran has served and is PACT Act connected, or what's the one for
Agent Orange?
Agent Orange, right? And the veteran has cancer, and then they say, well, you know how you go in and they read you and they ask you questions. Well, did your mother have breast cancer? Or did your father have breast cancer? Or this cancer?
That should have no bearing on whether the veteran.
Because oftentimes when the veteran is going to see their doctor, though the VA doctor sometimes will say, oh, it's hereditary because your grandfather had it or your paternal father had it. And I mean,
that is certainly a claim that needs to be looked at, because the law doesn't say respiratory cancers are related to Agent Orange, in parentheses, unless it's hereditary. It's period. That should have no bearing. Now, the question I thought you were going to ask me, which is something that really upsets and surprises veterans when they file a claim for cancer, for example, is that once they go into remission, then their 100% can drop down significantly all the way to zero. And they feel like, why? I still have residuals. Well, then the veteran should submit evidence to show what those particular residuals are of the cancer, and the VA can look at that as a separate claim. So, for example, with prostate cancer, sometimes, depending on the severity of it, they're left with incontinence issues, and the VA can certainly look at that. So, again, it goes back to the secondary issues, and a lot of times I think the veteran doesn't know, and they continue to fight the cancer claim when they should really be fighting the incontinence claim, and don't understand why they're getting denied. Well, the VA is not there to advocate, and the VA is not there to give you advice. The VA is there to take your claim and work it, and that's why it's important for you to have somebody advocate for you.
Outstanding. Outstanding. Let me ask you this, Luz. For our listeners out there, is there a way to determine what VSO is preferred than others? I mean, in other words, we're not going to say who's bad, but can you share maybe some that you would recommend veterans check with, or their family members?
Organizations
or
that can get plugged into that that will assist the veteran.
You know, it's been a few years since I worked at the regional office, but I've continued my work with claims, with just people I've met and people have been recommended to me. I particularly enjoy the challenging claims that nobody seems to be able to get.
Are you taking new veterans to help with their claims?
I do.
Okay.
Anybody can email me if they have a question. I don't represent anymore, and I don't advocate in the sense of becoming a power of attorney for them like I used to when I was accredited through AMVET. But I'd be more than happy to be able to just maybe explain a question. And what I find is that most veterans are so emotionally attached to that condition or that claim that it's hard for them to see things objectively. And they're so emotionally involved and so upset about just seeing the denial that they don't read past that denial into the reason why we denied you is because of this. And when I show them that in their letter, they're like, oh, I didn't see that. Well, because you were so focused on being denied that you didn't read anything else. All you heard was no, instead of not now or no unless you have this. Everything with VA is if, and, or, but. So there's no simple yes or no question or answer, rather, to questions that veterans have. So they can certainly email me. My email is Luz, my name, Luz.Cervantes, Cervantes, 2011 at gmail.com. I would be more than happy to assist when I can.
And we'll have her email address listed in the description. And
here's an idea. Maybe we can do a call-in segment.
That's what I was thinking. And ask Luz, and then we can do that. I would
definitely
love that.
would have to do that. But we're going on break, and
Okay.
we'll be back, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. So
Okay,
stay
sounds
tuned
great.
to the amazing 102.5 FM.
Welcome back. I'm Sam Alex on the amazing 102.5. I'm joined by my beautiful co-host,
Kayla Alex.
and our amazing, beautiful co-host, our beautiful, amazing guest.
Luz, which means light in Spanish.
Oh, I love that. I love that. You are definitely a
Definitely
light.
that.
You are definitely a light.
Thank you.
You know, last segment, it goes by so quickly. So listeners, thank you again for downloading the app. If you're out of the area, if you're listening via app, thank you to all our listeners out there and all our Houston listeners in the surrounding areas. We're so grateful for you.
Yes.
Luz, you shared with us the 5 ways that the VA connects injuries or ailments to service connection, and thank you for that. Tell us, moving forward, with a lot of changes going on, what do you see on the horizon for veterans as far as the VA? Will it continue to provide good opportunities and services for veterans, or are we at a crossroads?
Well, I'm glad you asked that, because just like there's good doctors and bad doctors, and there's good days and bad days, everybody has a different type of experience when they go to the VA. But from a personal note, from somebody who's been treated at the Michael E. DeBakey VA Medical Center for the last 25 years, I can say that I've received superb medical treatment, and I actually credit the VA here in Houston for saving my life. I credit them for saving my life because as a female veteran, they've dedicated a whole new clinic to us. It used to be just a hallway, and from what I hear, there's plans of expanding that clinic. But if I can share very briefly why I say that is because I had a mammogram back in 2018. I don't have any type of cancer history in my family, and I just went in for a routine mammogram, which came out normal. Then the pandemic hit, and life got in the way, and so in 2021, when I finally called to get my next mammogram, 3 different technicians ran the test to be sure, and they wouldn't let me leave until they could confirm that, yes, there was masses that they saw on my right breast. And the very next day, they brought me in for a biopsy. That was a Thursday, and by Monday, the doctor called me to tell me I had cancer. And that happened so fastly, so quickly, rather, that it didn't give me a lot of time to be anxious about what was going to be the result. I've talked to my other female friends who go through private doctors, and they have to wait 2 weeks to get the biopsy. Then they have to wait another 2 weeks to get the results. The VA hospital here in Houston, they move fast. And within a week, they wanted to start me on chemo. But I said, no, wait. This is happening way too fast. And there's still some things I need to do. And the doctor said, like what? I said, well, I need to go skydiving. And I need to go visit my family in Mexico. I don't know if I'll get that chance again. So she went ahead and let me, go out and play for a month and then I started chemo. But the VA hospital in Houston took such great care of me. And again, going back to 18 years old, deciding to join the service, I would have never thought that that decision would have saved my life. And VA hospital provided care, and the I don't even know how to explain it, but like the nurses there were just so caring, and everybody was just so nice and so friendly, and it didn't cost me a dime.
Wow.
It didn't cost me a dime. And so now one of the things that's dear to my heart is breast cancer awareness.
So when we look over our shoulder, we see you in that beautiful pink dress and
Yes,
you're holding a heart, I think.
It's the ribbon. The breast
ribbon?
cancer awareness.
Yes, yeah, the ribbon.
Now, Alex, Sam, I don't know if you knew this, but 1 in 8 women are diagnosed or will be diagnosed with breast cancer in their lifetime. So ladies, look at your friends, and 1 out of the 8 will be diagnosed. And 30% of all new cancer diagnoses in women are breast cancer. Now, I was diagnosed back in 2021, and that year there was 272,454 new cases. Here, 2024, there's an estimated 310,720. That's a difference of 38,266. It's on the rise. And the median age for diagnosis is 62 years old. So you might be 42, 52 and think, well, 62 is a long ways away. But that means that half of the people who are diagnosed are younger than 62, and half of them are older. So you can be diagnosed at any age. And I'll tell you, in my case, there was no family history. I don't carry the gene. And I had 4 tumors when I was diagnosed. And even as a doctor tried to point to me the regions where the tumors were, I couldn't feel them. I had no symptoms. I had just climbed my first mountain. I thought I was living my best life. And I didn't realize that I was slowly dying inside.
Something was inside.
You know, to your point, my friends I went to high school with, 2 of them that graduated a year before me, they're both battling breast cancer right now, and they are each other's support system, and I see them sharing their own personal testimonies and stories. And one just recently she just rang her bell, and the other is still kind of going through the process of chemo and treatment. And so they're they're barely scratching 50. They're 51, 52. And so, to your point, more and more younger women are being diagnosed. And it's important to make sure that you get your annual mammogram. I had mine done this past Monday.
Good.
And so UTMB, they were pretty quick with my results. I literally got it yesterday, and so good news there. But I highly encourage, every woman of age, and I started getting mine in my mid-40s.
Good. I was 42 when I was diagnosed.
Wow.
So there's no age. There really isn't. And just for the female veterans listening out there, or if you know a female veteran, the VA hospital, the women's clinic, does free mammograms. And ladies, it's really not just for the ladies, because men can also get breast cancer. As a matter of fact, there's less than 3,000 cases, but that's 3,000 men that were affected and their families are affected. Mm-hmm. So if you take anything out of this, is my advice is get yourself tested. Don't chalk it up to, well, it doesn't run in my family and I don't feel anything. Just go, because it could save your life. It's always about prevention. We hear famous rich people dying of breast cancer, and you kind of wonder how or why their money couldn't save them.
Yeah,
and it's prevention.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. So we'll definitely bring you back in October for Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And hopefully we'll have some calls come in and ask questions and just kind of get engaged, because I know women in men, one thing about the community is having that support system and asking our fellow brothers and sisters who are currently going through it or have gone through it and surviving it, and just to give that sense of peace that everything's going to be okay.
Encouragement, inspiration. I told you, listeners, that you will be inspired today. Luz, thank you for coming.
Yes.
And we want to have you back. And,
Thank you. Thank you for
I can't
having me.
wait. Yes, you have always been very special to us. And listeners out there, next week on September the 4th, we'll be having Eric Bryant as our special guest. We'll be discussing some of the grassroots work he is doing to help veterans, empowering veterans to continue to serve in the community in a proactive grassroots way. So as we wrap up, be encouraged this week, like Luz, who came with her bright smile and her great story of inspiration and continue to advocate for others as well as herself. And she's just a light. And we've been knowing her for a long time, and we love you, Luz.
Thank you. I love you
Thank you
guys
for
too.
coming and
Thank you.
doing that.
Thank
And
you.
to all our listeners out there, be encouraged. We love you. And we'll see you very soon on the amazing 102.5, powered by the Bread of Life. We're C.H.A.M.P. See you next week.
See you next week.